This session focuses on file management in multi-site pragmatic clinical trials.
In multi-site studies, disorganized files do more than slow teams down. They create avoidable errors, increase audit and inspection risk, and contribute to staff burnout. In this module, we'll walk through how to design and maintain a structured file system that supports trial operations from startup through closeout.
The objective of this module is straightforward: to help you build, organize, and implement a file management system that actually works for pragmatic trials. That means creating a centralized structure everyone understands and maintains, knowing exactly where documents live and which versions are current, and putting systems in place that are easy to use, easy to teach, and easy to audit.
File management tends to fail in trials for very predictable reasons. Multiple so-called final versions, documents scattered across personal drives and email inboxes, inconsistent naming, and audit trails that disappear when staff transition to different roles. The impact isn't just messy folders. Poor file management creates unnecessary risk, slows onboarding, increases errors, and erodes trust between sites and coordinating centers. In pragmatic trials, where workflows have to adapt to real-world settings, these problems compound quickly if structure isn't built in from the start.
Good file management in pragmatic trials is less about perfection and more about predictability. It means having one clear source of truth, so everyone knows where documents live and which version is current. The structure should be consistent across sites to reduce confusion, with clear ownership over who maintains folders and approves changes. And importantly, the system needs to be audit-ready. Documents are traceable, version history is preserved, and archived materials are clearly separated from active files. This slide lays out the core build sequence, the roadmap for putting a functional file management system in place. It starts with building a standardized, centralized structure, then mapping the protocol to real operational tasks. From there, you set up tools and tracking systems, link tasks to standardized operating procedures, and create quick reference guides. The sequence finishes with training and onboarding, site-level manuals and quality control planning, and clear closeout and archiving procedures.
When designing a folder structure, the key principle is to organize by function, not by person. Files should be grouped around what they support: protocols, ethics, data, and training, so the system doesn't break when staff change. Consistency across trials matters just as much. Standardized structures allow teams to transfer knowledge easily between projects. And finally, the structure needs to be scalable, so it can accommodate new sites, sub-studies, or extensions without needing to be redesigned halfway through a trial. Subfolders should be designed to reflect how work happens in a trial. You can organize them by year for ongoing processes like annual ethics renewals, by site in multi-site studies to keep documentation clearly separated, or by status to track documents as they move from draft to approval and archiving. In some cases, organizing by document type within a broader topic makes the most sense. The key is to choose a logic that supports retrieval, tracking, and oversight, rather than forcing teams to work around the folder structure.
Choosing how to organize files isn't arbitrary. It should be driven by how the trial operates. Consider how frequently documents need to be accessed, since high-use materials benefit from simpler structures. Regulatory and ethics requirements may dictate specific documentation or archiving approaches, so those always need to be built in. You also need to think about team collaboration, who needs access, and how they interact with the files, the phase and the duration of the trial. Longer, more complex studies usually require more granular organization than short, single-phase trials.
This slide introduces the foundation of the trial folder structure. The recycle folder acts as a temporary holding space for drafts, test files, or misfiled documents and should be cleared regularly. The working folder is where active drafts live before approval, with finalized documents moving into their designated folders. Trial coordination serves as the central operational hub, housing staff materials, task tracking, training, and onboarding. Meetings folders capture formal agendas, minutes, and decks, with consistent naming by date and topic to support traceability and easy reference.
The protocol folder houses the approved trial protocol, with superseded versions archived separately to preserve version history. Partnerships bring together materials related to collaborators, including onboarding templates and partnership feedback. Grants and reporting functions as both a pre- and post-award space, supporting grant preparation, reporting, tracking logs, and correspondence. Budget and invoicing hold the operational trial budget along with invoices, expenses, and financial tracking.
Regulatory and patient-facing materials need an especially clear structure because they're closely scrutinized and frequently updated. Ethics and approvals folders should be organized by site for multi-site trials, with subfolders by year for renewals or by submission type and date for amendments. Patient-facing materials benefit from subfolders by material type, with further organization by version or language when needed. Contracts should be structured by vendor or site, keeping agreements, amendments, and legal correspondence together. Data Safety Monitoring Board materials require tight organization, as well as meeting minutes by date and safety reports by reporting period to support oversight and traceability.
Operational and closeout folders support how the trial runs day to day and how it's wrapped up responsibly. Implementation and training focus on site-facing materials, training slides, videos, onboarding documentation, and site-specific guides. Randomization and recruitment hold allocation sequences, recruitment materials, screening documentation, and enrollment tracking. Communications and knowledge translation capture trial-wide updates, protocol debriefing materials, dissemination plans, and partner communication logs. Data collection and adherence bring together case report forms, adherence tracking, monitoring reports, and data quality documentation, ensuring the evidence trail is complete and defensible.
Analysis and publication bring together analytic files, figures, and publication materials, along with any unblinding documentation. Sub-studies and preliminary work capture pilot studies, quality improvement activities, and related materials, often mirroring the main SOP structure for consistency. Closeout serves as the final repository for the trial record, supporting long-term archiving, audit readiness, and future reference.
Naming conventions are what make a file system usable at scale. Every file name should include a clear trial identifier, a concise description of the document's purpose, a consistently formatted date, and an explicit version number. This approach removes ambiguity, prevents duplicate final files, and makes it easy to understand what a document is, when it was created, and whether it's the most current version without having to open it.
Version control is about preserving history while making the current version unmistakable. Superseded documents should move into an archive, while the document management system's built-in history maintains a detailed audit trail. A clear numbering system, using major versions for substantial changes and minor versions for small edits, eliminates the need for multiple final files. This approach gives teams confidence that the document they're using is current, accurate, and appropriate for operational use, reducing risk and improving efficiency across the trial.
Permissions and access control balance collaboration with protection. Role-based access ensures core operations staff can edit critical documents, while partners and external collaborators have read-only access. External sharing should be restricted, time-limited, and regularly audited. Limiting who can move or rename files helps prevent accidental disorganization and protects the integrity of the folder structure. Done well, permissions support smooth teamwork while safeguarding sensitive trial information.
Logs and trackers act as anchors within the file system and are central to trial oversight. Screening logs track recruitment and eligibility. Adverse event logs document safety monitoring and reporting, and training logs record staff qualifications and certifications. These files need to live in predictable locations, have clear ownership, and follow consistent naming conventions.
Operational tasks and files are inseparable. Every task generates or updates documentation that needs to be stored correctly. Site onboarding produces initiation reports, training logs, and regulatory approvals. Ethics amendments generate revised protocols, consent forms, and submission acknowledgements. Document updates ensure there's a traceable, accurate record of every task performed. Linking tasks directly to where their files live makes trial activity transparent, auditable, and much easier to manage over time. Quality control through file reviews keeps the system from slowly breaking down. Regular spot checks often help each month catch issues early by verifying naming conventions, version control, and folder placement. Logging problems and correcting them promptly reinforces accountability, while consistent oversight prevents gradual degradation of the file structure. Treated as a routine operational activity, file reviews protect data integrity and maintain audit readiness over the life of the trial.
Training should focus on how the file system is organized and why it matters, not just which tools to click. New staff need to understand where documents live, how files move through their life cycle, and who is responsible for maintaining the structure. Emphasizing structure over software, documenting training completion within the file system, and reinforcing standards through consistent onboarding helps ensure everyone follows the same practices from the start.
Site-level adaptations work best when standardization and flexibility are both respected. Core non-negotiable documents stay centralized in the main file structure to preserve consistency and oversight. At the same time, site-specific materials can live in clearly designated subfolders, allowing teams to meet local requirements without fragmenting the overall system. This balance keeps the trial coherent, while still accommodating real-world differences across sites.
Closeout file preparation is about confirming that the trial record is complete, accurate, and ready for long-term preservation. That starts with verifying all required documents are present and correctly filed, then preparing an audit-ready repository for regulatory review. Clear archiving responsibilities between the central team and sites prevent gaps, while scanning hard copies and securely archiving digital versions ensures nothing is lost. A clean, well-organized file system makes closeout faster, lower risk, and far less stressful. Common file management pitfalls usually start with workarounds, shortcuts, and exceptions. Saving files locally instead of in the centralized system, bypassing naming or version rules for convenience, or creating one-off folders all undermine system integrity. When these behaviors show up repeatedly, they're a signal, not just a compliance issue. It often means training needs reinforcement, or SOPs need to be revisited and updated to better support how work is actually happening.
File management isn't administrative overhead. It's a core operational competency. Treating it as an essential skill strengthens trial quality, reduces risk, and supports long-term success. The discipline built into a file system early on pays dividends across the entire trial lifecycle, from startup through closeout and beyond.
Thank you for listening. If you found this content useful, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss new modules.